Hey guys!
Hey, we're finished the cooling system, like 95% finished the cooling system. Um,
Just
from
need
the
to fill it.
yeah, that's pretty much it. It's ready to go. The car was hurting from the start and needed almost everything replaced. So we did that with all new custom stuff that was never there before. Um, so here's the cooling system almost done. This is that. Early morning, back at it. We went out, spent 45 bucks. Got us some hoses. Let's plumb it up. So our first two hose segments we're going to work on here is going to be coming off this flange. We're going to come off of there and start making our way across the manifolds. Somewhere around here we're going to cut and sleeve in the second half of this so that it straightens off, comes straight across the front of the manifold, go through our cap, which will be mounted to a couple supports here so that we can press and turn it on and off. From there then we'll just kind of scoot down and over to the upper hose, but this will get us at least up to here right now, which will be ideal. And then we have a game plan for the lower. We're going to use this guy here. We're going to snip it right about there and start off with this little 90-degree coming off the lower flange. And that's just going to snake our way up to this one, and then we'll have to again sleeve in an angled 90 or whatever degree we end up kind of working off of, but that's the rough GP. Yeah, let's cut some hoses. About to cut the second one. Here's the first.
Check this out.
Coming off the flange, we've just taped it together until we put our little sleeve in. But upper rad hose, upper filler neck, rad hose coming together. Yeah, something like that. Let me get rid of the light.
Looks nice.
Mm-hmm.
Okay, let's
Yep.
do it.
Lower rad hose is in, and we've cut a lot of them up. You can see they're all pretty hacked up. Test fit a few angles here and there, but see, lower rad hose is nice and fit. Oh, it's perfect. Perfect. Half of the uppers all together here. We're going to just kind of play around with this little piece here, and we're 100%. See if we can get it together with maybe only one sleeve fitting. It might be two though. Thinking leaning towards maybe two. Unless we can get fancy, we've got a ton of options. So we'll maybe make 2 or 3 different ones, because also we need to get the intercooler in for final fitment. But yeah, that's where we're at. Along there. Take a little more out of this guy, right? Turn this so it faces downward. Yeah, sort of like so. Alright, we'll need to take a little more out of him.
Just so it's not as high, it sits level, right?
Yeah, take a bit more out of there. Yeah, alright. Just cut a little bit more here. Just keep it rolling.
Cut. This is what we've tore into Got quite a few left.
Yeah, we'll do an option or two for this hose, just because.
Yeah, we're not sure about the intercooler fitting right now. We gotta still map that out. But we're hoping this fits. We're hoping it just goes underneath the charge piping.
Would be ideal. You know what, I'll take a little more off here, just to slide this down a bit. This guy.
That much?
Yeah, it gives us a little more clearance on the alternator, but I think it'll line up the hoses just right.
That's alright. That's a little. Works out better.
That's pretty good. Right?
Mm-hmm.
Only off by a little bit. Put that together like so. That should fit fairly nicely. It does clear the alternator, and if the intercooler sits right down here, we can set it pretty much on top of here. Option 1. Where we stand at the moment, we have our rad support in. The hose is still just mocked up in place. We have all of the connectors for them. We've got a few for there, couple little Stanley Cup reducers. Look at that, Stanley Cup. Yeah, we don't follow hockey actually, really. We have down here too our auxiliary water pump setup. It's going to be mounted under the frame rail. We're going to trim off a couple of one of these nubs, maybe two of these nubs. Might weld a new nub on or put a nut and bolt through the frame rail. I'm not sure yet. So it's going to go from, into the hard line here, into the return, down to the side of the pump. And the other side is going to run straight down the frame rail, underside-ish. Just goes back around into the turbo coolant outlet pipe somewhere under the.
It's right here. It's so dark though, you can't even see.
All right, we'll shine some light on that later.
Okay.
But yeah, so that's the game plan with all of that. We have to shrink down a coolant hose or a coolant line fitting thing because it needs to go in line with this and it needs to go in the middle of sort of a curve. Not really, we just need a little bit of a bend with it, but this thing's normally like this long. We have a few test pieces from our old coolant hardline here. We're gonna try a few different welding techniques. We've got a segment of new line that we aren't using that was removed, so we can cut that one up as well too, practice a little bit on it. See if we can get that down pat, and then we have one shot to get our good line together. So that'll be exciting. But for now, weld this guy and then take a few swings at these things. But yeah, game on. Okay, here we have the coolant hard line. This is it all together. I welded it solid and then threw a little bit of epoxy on for good measure. And there it is. It's all the pieces that we took out. Fits very, very nicely in there. A little bit of paint and back into the car. Alright, well, we're moving along on the cooling system. Figured I'd quickly start filming before I kept getting carried away. Our fittings here, we have into this side already All of the hoses are nicely routed. It sits very nice. So that is the final positioning there. I'll be putting some clamps on it now. Nice and clear of everything. It's beautiful. Just beautiful. Alright, we've got a little bit of the cooling system in. The auxiliary water pump is mounted. You can see it under the frame rail there. Let's get a little closer. That's the auxiliary water pump. It's mounted under the frame rail. It's nice and free and clear of everything. See the line coming off of it. It runs up around the lower rad hose. You can see it in there. Lower rad hose routed. The turbo return line to our aux water pumps mounted. Got to get a mount set for this so this doesn't move, so we can push on the cap and screw it on and off nicely. Probably mount that to that little bolt down there, and maybe use this little guy as well too. We'll see what happens, but it's kind of nice that the cooling cap and the oil dipstick are side by side. I don't know why I think that's cool, but it's cool. Yeah. Let's put the flange on the side of the head. This is our new aluminum coolant flange. We cleaned it up. I cleaned all the castings out of it and smoothed it out nicely in there. I've got a small ring of silicone around, heat. Yeah, temp sense is in there. This flange has just the one outlet on the bottom, and let's put it in. You can see here our coolant hard line. It's now been fully modified. It's in place. It comes up right there. This flange will sit right about there. Alright, so now I guess I'm gonna put some more rad hose on. Let's finish the upper rad hose. That's pretty much routed. Let's put some clamps on it now. It's our upper rod hose. May sit a little bit away from here. Pick a nice spot. We can pull the dipstick out nicely still. But that is pretty much it. Alright, so our heater core ends here. We are using two turn down flanges. One's off a W8, one's from this car, the old one off this car. We did order two that come straight out. These are interchangeable side to side. We ordered two that came straight out, and I think it's going to put too much of a strain on the hose. And it might come in the way of might get in the way of our charge pipe. So we're going to try this one first. You can always revert back to that old style if this doesn't work, but I think it should work just fine. What we're going to do is have one of the original hose, or the original turn down flange, move to the other side, and then the W8 one, I think this is it. Looks like it. The W8 one we kind of had to carve out with a knife a little bit so it faces down, because I think originally it faced up, but that's both of them on like that. That's why one clip is down, one clip is up. And let's see here. There we go. So that's what it'll look like there. They do come out nice and free and clear of everything. It'll route down, stay together, right into their home, right here. From there to here. Cool? So here it is, completed cooling system. We have, starting from the firewall, both of the turn down flanges, the shorter one on this side because of the brake booster, heater core hoses coming together, and also joining together over here. The coolant hardline now comes out here. From this flange it shoots out on a bit of an angle and comes out side by side with the flange off the side of the head. Now that flange here leads us to just the aluminum flange with just a single outlet on the bottom. So we have the return hose here, a little bypass, and upper rad hose makes its way up around to our filler up top here. We're going to build a bracket off of the manifold when we put our new manifold on. The filler has a hose right now just running down the side. There's no bottle yet for the overflow. It's the only piece missing, but rest of the upper hose straight down into this side of the rad, and then yeah, down to the lower rad hose, way down there. But
Down
that one's
there?
just
It comes out over here.
yeah, nice short little jaunt, you know, out of the thermostat housing down into the rad, and we're good to go. All right, from the side we have our turbo return line, but we're utilizing the auxiliary water pump, so that is now mounted on the bottom of the frame rail and is in line. So the one line goes in from the side to the engine and from the back to the turbo.
And that is the completed system.
Yep. Cooling system checked off.